English for survival
สวัสดีครับผมแชมป์เฉลิมชัยจันมณีและนี่คือ EDthoughts ทางรอดของระบอบการศึกษา
Hello there. Well, I think today we start on the podcast quite differently. Okay, but what I would like to do today is pretty much about people asking me about how do you live on the overseas. So most of the time that we have these questions is coming back to me back then when I was in Thailand, that everything is blocking me for learn English by fear. So fear is the main contribution for all of you guys. So this podcast is pretty much want to address a problem that you might be have by yourself. So if you want to like working overseas, doing jobs or living, well, I hope that these podcasts at least with my speaking will rather help you out on how should we learn the ways that we start to learn English. So I would like to start with myself that we are normally learning as a Thai school. So we go to school, we learn by writing A to Z and every kind of those things. But what I actually learned to speak in English will start from when I was child, then when my parents sent me to some of the tutor in the house nearby. And the tutor doesn't do anything, but what they actually do is they have a lot of activities for the kids and games to let everyone come to play. So the place that they have, they bring the kids around the village, maybe 10 up to 20, come to the place, play the games, play football, talk about story, novel if they have some. And that's what I start to learn in English. But although those time is not take that long, so after a couple months, we not continue to doing that because I need to move to another province, which is I moved to Phuket. And since then, we don't have a chance to learn English at all. I mean, school give you a chance to read, to answer, to do the exam, but it's not really about the skill that you need to do for everyone. So the time that I really learn English is when we get in the university, and thanks for my professor to help me out to listen to the news. So he not really opens up the news by himself, but he opened the speaker and I'm sitting in that room to do a project. So that's basically he give me a chance to listen to English. Either I'm not really understand what he actually say or what they actually say, but it's get to me somehow. And then the day we start to speak out in English is when I have a chance to work with the international company, and that have no chance other than speak English to the manager, which is a foreign person. So that's where I am starting from, and I would like you guys to try to listen to what I'm speaking in this podcast. And I mean, this is at least to get you familiarized with English. My answer or my accent is not really be a best for you guys, but I hope that might help you somehow. So what I believe is the way that we learn in the past, that we are talking about writing down the words, try to understand the grammar and those kind of things. I don't really think that is really benefit to us when we was child. So I don't want to you guys to repeat the same mistake that we already have. So this might be the time that you guys will start to learn. So you can recognize that my conversation I speak to you is not a perfect grammar. I mean, totally zero. I would say when I learn English, I not really have the grammar in my mind. So I just speak out whatever I think that should make a people understand. You just speak out. And that's what the way we should learn, basically. So, I mean, if we back to the way we learn English or we learn Thai, the really first thing that you guys need to do as a foundation is listening. So we listen to a person when they come to you. You speak to the kids. The kid don't know how to speak out, but they are listening. So as soon as they're listening and they try to understand what you are talking about, and then they will speak back to you. So really first skill that everyone need to make the foundation is a listening skill. And that might be really good for you guys to at least listen to something. It doesn't need to be my podcast. It can be someone else. But I'm trying to use as simple as words as I have in my mind, including some of the grammar that I know somehow, but it's not the main grammar that we are playing for. But again, listening, right? And then once you know it, you start to speaking, and then you speak to people. If you make mistake, that's all right. I'm not really care on if they are or if we are not speaking perfect English, because we're not a native speaker anyway. So we just speak it out. And then if the native doesn't understand what you're saying, you just try to repeat to them again. And then if they still don't understand, let them speak back to you, and then let you try to say yes or no. And that should be the way that we really learn about. And once you can communicate, right, you can get to the point that when you start to communicate, and then the reading will be our next level that people will earn from there. We basically learn to be reading before we learn to listening. So it's nothing wrong, right? The reading can be learned before listening, but once you not be able to communicate, and that might be the key purpose for the languages. But anyway, reading, and then once you know the reading, you learn the grammar, you learn how do they structure it, and then you start to be writing. But what we do since beginning is A to C from writing at the first place. And that's why you're never successful. It had been proved by so many of my friends who learned English since primary school. And now they still not be able to speak. For myself, I learned because I come for work, and the work forced you to be able to speak out. And once you be able to speak out, then that's what it is. So hope you guys learning something about this podcast, and hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.
หลังจากฟังจบแล้วคิดเห็นยังไงกันบ้างครับอย่าลืมแชร์ความคิดเห็นและติดตามกันได้ในทุกช่องทางไม่ว่าจะเป็น YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, SoundCloud แล้วมาเป็นส่วนหนึ่งในการพัฒนาการศึกษากันนะครับ